All right, guys, I want to do a quick recap video on the Bassmaster Kayak Series on the Susquehanna. This was a tough one for me to take, losing. Now I say losing, I was 7th place, so that's not really, it's not bad. Of course, obviously out of 224 people, that's a great finish, and certainly I'm happy about that, but at the same time, I also know kind of what I left out there on the table and what could have been. There are definitely sports where it's a blowout. We know who's going to win at the very end of the game. The other team comes back and makes it look like it was a respectable close game, but it really wasn't. This was one of those. It was tight the whole time. I knew it was going to be tight. I was in it the whole time. I lost 4 fish on day 1 that would have given me probably another inch and given me the win, or 3 fish on day 2 that would have done the same. And everyone has their own story. I'm not going to get into each one, whether it was line broke or the bait came out or a number of just different crazy things that happen when you're fishing for smallmouth bass. But it definitely wasn't like I cold the last 30 minutes in each day and caught a couple 19s and I felt lucky to be 7th. No, I felt like I should have won that event. And I'm obviously frustrated by it, and if you're not, then what are you doing fishing the high level events, right? Because to me, this is fun. That challenge is what's fun. People might look at this and be like, man, you're like all frustrated, you're bummed out. This is like kind of got to you a little bit, this event, but it's like, no, that's what I also loved about it. I mean, I love it. If you don't care and don't have this passion, then it's probably not, for you to be fishing at this high level. You wouldn't want your NFL player, your Major League Baseball, NBA, doesn't matter, your golfer that loses, and really was right there and coulda, woulda, shoulda, had it. You don't want them to just be like, whatever, I'm just gonna go to my mansion and just chill and I don't really care, I got millions of dollars, like who cares? You want them to be like, to care. So this is just me showing how much I care and how frustrating it was and just telling my story. No one wants to hear me complain. I've been blessed to win a lot, so I'm certainly not complaining. I'm just sharing my story, what happened, and what makes this sport so great. I mean, it really is a game of inches. And so congrats to Ewing. I think he said it really good on stage. He always has such a good assessment of kind of what's going on. And he said something like, I just can't believe that I'm here standing with the first place trophy with all those hammers in front of me. That he was in 12th place, I think, after day 1. So you had 11 people ahead of him that really had a little bit of an upper hand on taking the win, and we all kind of had our own things happen to us and didn't put it together on day 2, like he did. So it just is what it is. But that was a good assessment, I thought, by Ewing, and congrats to him for winning. But I'll tell you a little story on a few things. So first of all, I was sick. On Friday morning, I woke up, didn't get any practice Friday, got on the water on Thursday, and wanted to fish somewhere totally different than I previously had, because I know Jeff Little followed me last year, and people were starting to kind of figure out some of the areas I like to fish. And I thought, well, maybe if that's going to push people that direction, I want to go the opposite. And so explored some new waters. But Friday I felt horrible, couldn't expand on what I'd found on Thursday, and I found some good stuff that I liked. And so that's what I did. I went complete opposite direction, just somewhere I never fished before. Wanted to find them there, and Russ and Christine had a similar strategy because they'd been filmed, and if obviously Christine films herself with GoPro, and you can tell where she's at, so I think that the pressure was getting some of the other areas pretty heavily. Past tournaments have been won in some of those areas, so we all 3 had the same strategy. And I think Bailey Eichbert said it before when I've been on his podcast, that he felt like, I'm probably one of the best in his opinion in kayak fishing at tournament strategy. And it's always part of tournament strategy is not just the strategy with the fish, it's staying ahead of the other anglers in the competition and where you feel it's going to be won, or where most people are focusing, which is going to cannibalize the fish, and nobody can win there, right? So usually I've got a pretty cool story with every one of my tournaments, something I've done or figured out that's kind of a unique and different strategy. It's just part of Drew, it's part of my style, and I just felt this was one of those times where I'm going to kind of zig when everyone zags and go somewhere opposite than where people are used to seeing me or think I'm going to be. And Russ and Christine had the same strategy, as did several other people that were there, but those 2 in particular. And so we saw each other, we fished similar water, we had a little bit of overlapping water, and all of us did good. All of us did really well. And all of us had motor issues, but my motor issue, just so you know, was a fishing line got wrapped up. The 1103 is a champ. I mean, it is a champ. always is. It's done some of the most rugged stuff and helped me win events like no other. So I love the motor, but fishing line is going to wrap up in any prop, eventually get inside, and that's probably on me. I probably didn't check it frequent enough. I know Jeff Little always had told us to check it every single day, and I didn't check it the day before or the night before, and maybe that fishing line was in there and I didn't get it, you know, that day it broke on Sunday. Could have been on me, but I had to paddle, you know, so I'm sick. I'm still feeling sick Saturday and Sunday while I'm fishing the tournament, still getting over it even now. So I don't have quite the energy. You know, I lose all those fish, had the motor unfortunately fail, and then I had to paddle all the day, so I couldn't get it to all my stuff. Still lost just by an inch, you know, so it's just very, very frustrating. But I called Steve Owens. Steve's awesome tournament director for Bassmaster, guys. He's the best. I mean, really, I called Steve and I said, man, I am way, way down from my ramp. My motor's failed. What are my options, Steve? Like, what can I do? And he said, I said, you know, the award's mandatory. He said, no, they're not mandatory. And he said, but what is mandatory is you have got to get back to that ramp that you put in at, back to a designated ramp. So I said, all right, no worries. I will either paddle back and I'll miss the awards, which is fine, you know, take my time. The tournament ended at 1:30. It's not like we didn't have plenty of daylight to get back. So, and I've certainly made a lot of paddles in my day, so I have no problem doing that and was going to. But he also said that I could, I asked if I could, you know, if I had an extra motor, if someone could bring it to me, if I could just use it. He said, absolutely. He also said I could get towed back. Like, I think Christine and some others had to get towed back on day one from stuff that happened. So competitors can certainly tow you back. So I said, cool, now I know my options. And I chose to call Pete from Texas, My Chaotic Fishing, I believe that's his Instagram, go follow him. Really good dude, stay with us at the Airbnb. And he said, yeah, man, I'm, you know, 30 minutes from the house. I'll go there, I'll pick it up, bring it to you, and get your extra motor. But I also found out that I could have brought my extra motor on the kayak with me. And I misunderstood the pre-tournament rules meeting. It sounded like we couldn't bring a second motor, and I was going to do that, and my roommate said, no, I mean, that's what was said. So, but what he meant was you couldn't have it on the kayak, like not on the kayak, but rigged and in use on the kayak, like a second one in use at the same time. So he didn't need to make that video, but he did, and that's cool. That's just the kind of stand-up guy Steve is. You know, he's just, you're always going to get that from Steve. He's consistent. You know, it's just unfortunate, all the different things that I can look back on that's like, man, I could have, would have, should have, you know. So this one hurts. But now I have an answer for a question that people ask me all the time. Like, Drew, you've won AOIs and you've won you know, Bassmaster Championship. What do you have left to do on your own personal competitive side? And now I've got an answer to that question. I for sure want to win the Susquehanna River Tournament. I don't care if it's with Hobie, Bassmaster, KBF, whoever goes there on a major national tournament level. Obviously, Kayak Adventure Series tournaments, I'm not fishing them. I'm running those, so I'm not going to fish those. But, which, by the way, we are heading back there in a week and a half. So if you want revenge on the Susquehanna, I know Bailey Eibert did say, he was like, dude, I want revenge. I'm coming back up there to the Tawanda tournament, to your Fiesta on the Susky, as we call it, August 9th and 10th. But that's what I want. I want to win the Susquehanna River Tournament. It's my favorite place to fish, near and dear to my heart, and I want to win that tournament. So now I have an answer to that. Great week, a ton of fun. Can't wait to get back and redeem myself. But now, real quickly, just to tell you how I was catching them, guys. We'll show you what I was using. And it's a pretty cool setup. It's a 7-inch Z-Man jerk shads, but I actually use a double frog hook. You can see there, a double frog hook. I've got a lot of stuff going on there. I'm not going to explain it all, but it's all got a purpose. And yeah, that's it. Maybe the one I missed right there. really cool. That's right, jerk shad down the throat. Seven-inch jerk shads for the win. 2 hooks just to help get those smallmouth, and man, you get them on that double frog hook, they're not coming off. And I use this new yak rods, by the way. I love this rod, it was awesome. So the Feast Specialty Series 7.2, you know, extra heavy fast, feels a little bit more like a medium heavy, honestly. So great rod. I threw that a lot with a top water. That was a great top water rod as well. Also threw a just a jackhammer with a 5-inch diesel minnow as well in some areas where it just kind of fit. And there was a little bit of stain in the water and a little bit more current, a little bit more, you know, I wouldn't say rapids, but you know, kind of rapids basically. But I also caught some fish on the new Molotron, small Molotron here. This is just a good smallmouth size, just a good bite-sized smallmouth size. It looks so real, and you can reel this, it's a line through, so they're not going to shake it off as easy with the you know, weight of the bait, giving them leverage. But the pulse tail, and the, you know, wedge tail, whatever you want to call it on the back here, because the Elastec is just so limber, guys, this thing, you can burn it, and or you can roll it slow and it still kicks and it doesn't like blow out. It's awesome. So all the wedge tail baits like that, pulse tails, whatever, from Z-Man are incredible. The new Shadtron, I threw that some as well. Rigged it with the special double and treble hook on the top and the bottom. It's got 2 places to rig that one, 2 hookup spots. But the little bite-sized one was a little bit better for this event, and especially when you got a lot of eelgrass around, it was kind of tough. That's why that jerk shads work so well, because there's so much floating eelgrass, you can just rip it off and it imparts the action anyway of a soft plastic jerk bait. So it's one reason I went with that jerk bait and that setup. So, you know, real quick to touch on kayak. I think most of you guys know I'm always in my Crescent kayak Shoalie. It's just a great riverboat, you know, not heavy, easy to get in and out of places. Works great with that Torqeedo 1103. Draft super shallow, like 4 inches of water, and it's got that catchboard recess. And for us in this event, we were allowed to wade and tether ourselves. So I've already got, you know, the built-in wading strap, the handle, the, you know, cam strap handle on the front. There's so many cool features about this boat that I love on a river. The main one, honestly, is just the hull design. You know, it's pretty darn flat on the bottom, and that's by design. That's the best design for rivers. You don't want a lot of undulations in your hull. That's just going to be a way to trap a rock or a log. You know, it gets in there and you're kind of like sideways with the current, and you can't get off because it's stuck in there right in the middle. So we designed it that way on purpose. And obviously you can go look at any whitewater kayak that's made for rivers, and none of them have any crazy undulations, right? Because river kayaks don't, you know, have that. That's not what makes them a good riverboat. What makes them good is being pretty darn flat on the bottom. We have a couple tracking channels on the bottom which do help it track in flat water, but they're not very deep or very big at all, so it's very unlikely that anything's ever going to get caught in there. You're going to kind of get stuck on that. But it's a champ as always. Love the Shoalie. Definitely check it out if you're looking for a good riverboat. I'm trying to think what else. Main thing, like I said, had the Torqeedo 1103 that was great. It had the innovative Sportsman rock guard on it. Weed cutter, the weed prop cutter. Also had Bending Branches paddle, which had to use that a lot as well, just to kind of push off things and make little micro corrections and maneuvers as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it on the main stuff, guys, for this event. And yeah, I just want to get back out there and get at it. Can't wait to go fish Caddo in the fall. And I hope you guys got a little bit out of it and could feel the pain, because I know you guys have all been there. We've all been there, and hopefully you guys can empathize a little bit with me and know that you're not alone when you've had stuff, you know, fish get off, of course, and flop off the board, or whatever the stories you guys have for this tournament or any tournament. We've all been there, and it's easy to just not share about them and just go on and just share about the events that are great, that you caught a bunch of big fish. But I wanted to share this story because yeah, I think it was like, it just got to me, and I just want to win that tournament.